The boardroom was too quiet. The kind of silence that hurts your ears. "Mr. Cole," the head auditor said, not looking at me, "we've reviewed the accounts. The missing funds were transferred under your name." My pulse hammered. That's not possible. I never touched those accounts. Across the table, Claire leaned back in her chair. Her lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Ethan, maybe it's best if you stop denying it. The evidence is overwhelming." I turned to her. "You're really going to do this?" Her eyes didn't flinch. "I'm protecting the company." "The company?" My voice cracked. "Or your position?" The board members exchanged uneasy glances. I could hear the hum of the AC, the faint click of Claire's pen, the whisper of betrayal filling the room. "You're framing me," I said quietly. "You moved the money. You had access to every document." Claire tilted her head. "Do you have proof?" I laughed, sharp, bitter. "Proof." "You wiped it clean." Security entered. 2 men in dark suits. The taller one said, "Mr. Cole, you'll need to come with us." Looked at Claire again. The woman I'd loved for 3 years. The woman who used to call me her safe place. "You don't have to do this," I whispered. She stood. "It's not personal. It's business." The words cut deeper than I expected. "Business," I repeated, almost laughing. "You slept in my arms last night, and now you're calling this business." A few gasps echoed around the room. The chairman, Mr. Dalton, shifted uncomfortably. "Please, Mr. Coletts, not make a scene." I faced him. "A scene? I'm being accused of fraud for something I didn't do." He sighed, weary. "We'll review it further. But for now, you're suspended pending investigation." The guard stepped closer. Claire smoothed her blazer and avoided my eyes. I whispered, "You win." "I didn't want it to be this way," she said. "Yes, you did." I grabbed my arm. I didn't fight. I just stared at her one last time. Her face was stone, perfectly calm. The same calm she had when she lied to clients. To the board, to me. As the door closed behind me, the murmurs of the room faded, replaced by the echo of my footsteps and the sound of my own breathing. Down the corridor, people avoided my eyes. I could hear whispers, "That's him." The guy who stole millions? Outside, the cold hit me like punishment. I stopped near the glass entrance, watching my reflection tremble. My tie was loose. My hand shook. Daniel, my best friend from the department, ran out after me. "Ethan, wait." I turned. "You knew?" He looked away. Claire said. "Claire said what?" I snapped, "That you took the fall for something you did." I stared at him. "You believed her?" "I didn't know what to believe, man." His voice cracked. "She showed the transfers." I laughed again. "She forged them, Daniel. You think I'd risk everything for a few numbers?" He swallowed hard. "She promised me a promotion if I stayed quiet." Froze. "You helped her. It wasn't supposed to go this far." Stepped closer. "You watched her destroy me for a title." He looked at the ground. "I'm sorry." I walked away. I didn't trust my voice anymore. Rain began to fall, slow, cold drops soaking through my shirt. The city lights blurred, colors bleeding together. By the time I reached my apartment, everything felt distant. The walls, the furniture, even the air carried her scent. Her perfume sat on the counter. Vanilla and deceit. I threw it into the sink. It shattered. The phone rang. Unknown number. I answered anyway. "Ethan Cole." A voice said, "Yeah." "This is Marcus Hale from Titan Global. We spoke briefly at the Finance Summit last year." I tried to sound normal. "Right, I remember. Heard what happened today," he said. "Unfair, from what I gather. Meet me tomorrow morning. I might have something for you." I hesitated. "Why me?" "Because men like you don't break easily." He hung up. For a moment, I just stood there, phone pressed against my ear. Heart still beating too fast. The city outside buzzed with traffic and life as if my world hadn't just ended. I poured myself. The glass clinked against the counter. In the reflection, I saw a version of me I didn't recognize. Eyes hollow. Shoulders slumped. I whispered, "You let her in? You gave her everything." The memory replayed again. Her laughter, her warmth, her promises. "We'll run this place together, Ethan. Lies, all of it." I sat on the floor, back against the wall. Watching the night slip away through the window, I could still hear her voice, calm, firm, professional. It's not personal, but it was. It always was. Hours passed. I don't remember falling asleep, only waking up to the sunlight cutting through the blinds. My phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. Marcus Hale, 9 a.m., Titan Tower. "Don't be late." I stared at it. Maybe this was a chance. Or maybe it was just another fall. Either way, I couldn't stay broken. Not after what she did. I looked at the empty space beside me, where she used to sleep. Then at the shattered glass in the sink. She destroyed my career, my name, my faith. But she also gave me something else, a reason. I stood, buttoned my shirt, and looked in the mirror again. My reflection didn't look weak anymore. It looked dangerous. "I'll see you soon, Claire," I said softly. "But next time I won't be the one walking out." And for the first time since the boardroom, I smiled. The next morning, I stood in front of Titan Tower, glass and steel cutting into the sky. I felt small again. When I stepped inside, a receptionist smiled politely. "You're here to see Mr. Hale?" "Yes, Ethan Cole." She handed me a visitor badge. "Top floor. He's expecting you." The elevator ride felt endless. My reflection in the mirror panel looked sharper than I remembered, tired eyes. But alive when the doors opened, I found Marcus Hale waiting near the window. Tall, confident, gray suit, steady gaze. He turned. "Ethan Cole, sit." I did. He poured 2 cups of coffee, then said, "You look like a man who's been hit by a truck. Feels about right." He smirked. "Tell me what happened." I hesitated. "You already know. I know what they said." "I want to hear your version," so I told him. Not everything, but enough. The meeting, Claire's betrayal, Daniel's silence, the humiliation. I spoke like a man scraping the bottom of himself. When I finished, Marcus leaned back. "You sound angry." "I'm tired, not angry." "Same thing," he said. "Just colder." I frowned. "Why did you call me?" "Because I've seen this before. Talented man framed by ambition. You either vanish or rebuild. And you think I can rebuild." He smiled faintly. "No, I think you can become something better." I didn't respond. He slid a file across the desk. "Titan Global has an opening. Financial Strategy Division. Small team. High pressure. Low trust. Perfect for someone who's been burned." I looked at it. "You're offering me a job? I'm offering you a chance to prove them wrong, and if I fail, then you'll finally know what kind of man you are." Silence filled the room. My hands shook slightly. Finally, I said, "When do I start?" He grinned. "You already did." The weeks that followed were brutal. I worked longer hours than I thought humanly possible. Marcus didn't praise or comfort, he tested. Every report came back with red marks. Every mistake he caught before I did. One night, after a 14-hour shift, I knocked on his office door. "Come in," he said without looking up. I sat across from him, exhausted. "Do you ever sleep?" He looked up. "Do you?" "I used to," he chuckled. "Good. Means you're adapting. Or breaking. There's no difference until you decide which." I rubbed my eyes. "You really don't go easy on people." He leaned forward. "Claire Morgan went easy on you. Look where that got you." The name hit like a punch. "You know her?" "Everyone in this city knows her," he said. "She's losing ground. Her company's bleeding investors." I said nothing. Marcus studied me. "Does that make you happy?" "No," I said slowly. "Not yet." "Right." He nodded. "Good answer." Months passed. I rose through the ranks. People began to notice. "Cole's got something," they whispered. I didn't smile often, but when I did, it was real. One evening, Marcus invited me to dinner. The restaurant was quiet, dimly lit, all expensive restraint. He said, "You've changed. Hopefully for the better." "For the colder," he corrected. I looked at him. "You make that sound like a compliment." "It is. Cold men survive. Warm ones don't." "Warm ones get used," he said, cutting his steak. "You should know." I thought of Claire, her laugh, her lies. The moment she said, "It's not personal," I said, "Maybe I'm done being used." "Then stop thinking like a victim," Marcus said. "Start thinking like a threat." By the 9th month, I was running the entire division. Marcus called me into his office again. "Sit," he said. I sat, cautious. "Am I in trouble?" "Not yet," he replied. "You've done well. Better than expected. You've rebuilt your name quietly, without noise." I nodded. "I wasn't trying to make noise," he smiled. "Exactly. The best revenge is done in silence." I asked, "Is that your philosophy?" "It's survival." He stood, walked to the window. "Ethan, how do you feel when you hear her name now?" I paused. Like a ghost brushed past me. He looked impressed. "Then you're ready." "For what?" He handed me another folder. "Titan is expanding. We're acquiring a firm that's been struggling with corruption, poor management, and emotional drama." I opened the file. My heart froze. The company name glared back at me. Morgan and Brooks Financial Group. My old company. Her empire. I tried to sound calm. "You're serious? Completely? The deal is almost done. I want you to oversee the transition. As director? You'll run the regional branch once the acquisition is finalized." I stared at him. "You knew this all along, didn't you?" Marcus didn't deny it. I knew fate had a sense of humor. "And you're giving me her company to run?" "I'm giving you a test," he said, "to see if you still bleed when she walks in the room." Axe exhaled slowly. "And if I do?" "Then I'll know you're still human," he said softly. "But if you don't, then I'll know you finally become what they fear." That night I couldn't sleep. I sat by the window of my apartment, city lights flickering below. My phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "Daniel, she's asking about you. Says she heard your name again. Be careful." I typed back. "Let her hear it." Then I stared at my reflection in the glass. The same man who once walked out in shame, now wearing quiet power. I remembered Marcus's words. Cold men survive. But a part of me whispered back. Cold men also forget how to feel. The next morning, Marcus called. The board approved it. "You'll take over next month?" I asked. "Does she know yet?" "Not officially," he said. "But she will. People like her always find out early. It's their curse. They can't stand not knowing." I could almost hear the smirk in his voice. He added, "You can still back out if you're not ready," I said. "I've been ready since the day she broke me." He laughed quietly. That's what I wanted to hear. When the call ended, I sat in silence. The city outside looked different, sharper, almost cleaner. For the first time, I didn't feel like a victim. I felt like the storm that was coming. Claire's empire had burned me once. Now, I was walking back not as the same man, but as the spark that could end her illusion. Marcus was right. Revenge wasn't loud. It didn't shout. It simply waited until the world turned, and then it smiled, and I was done waiting. 3 years can turn a wound into armor. I stood outside the glass tower that once threw me out like trash. Morgan and Brooks Financial Group, now a Titan subsidiary. My company. My name on the paperwork. The lobby hadn't changed much. Same marble floors, same artificial smiles. Only this time, the whispers followed me differently. "Is that him?" Someone whispered. "I thought he was gone." Gone. No. I just learned how to come back quietly. The receptionist blinked as I approached. "Good morning, sir." "Welcome to Morgan, and it's Titan Financial now," I interrupted softly. "Ethan Cole, new regional director." Her eyes widened. "Oh, of course, Mr. Cole. Ms. Morgan's expecting a corporate update meeting today." "I know." Press the elevator button. My reflection in the mirrored wall looked calm, but my heartbeat felt like thunder. When the doors opened to the executive floor, I stepped out and saw the same hallway where everything once ended. My shoes made no sound on the carpet. Only memory did. A familiar voice echoed behind me. "Excuse me, sir. You can't just—" I turned. Claire Morgan froze mid-step. For a moment, silence devoured everything. The hallway, the whispers, even the air. Her lips parted. "Ethan." I smiled slightly. "No, Ms. Morgan. It's Mr. Cole now." Her breath caught. "You how? Let's not make this dramatic," I said evenly. "We both know I'm not a ghost. Though I suppose it must feel that way to you." Her eyes darted toward the Titan logo on my ID badge. "You work for them?" I glanced around. "You mean own this now?" "Yes." She swallowed hard. "You're the new regional director?" "Director? Yes. Regional. Temporarily." I stepped closer. "You didn't read the acquisition memo?" "I didn't expect you." I shrugged. "Neither did I. Life's funny like that." The conference room doors opened behind her, and Marcus Hale stepped out, shaking hands with a few executives. When he saw me, his grin was subtle but knowing. "Claire," Marcus said warmly, "you remember Mr. Cole, I assume?" Her tone cracked. "Of course." Marcus nodded. "Good. He'll be overseeing all integration and staff evaluations. I expect full cooperation." She forced a smile. "Naturally." Marcus turned to me. "You good here?" "Perfectly," I said. He patted my shoulder. "Welcome home, Ethan." Then he laughed. Claire's composure snapped the second he disappeared down the hallway. She hissed, "Is this revenge?" "No," I said quietly. "This is business." Her eyes flashed. "Don't use my words against me." They were good words. Cold, but efficient. She crossed her arms. "You've changed." I had to. "You made sure of that." She took a slow breath. "You don't understand what happened back then." "I understand perfectly," I said. "You framed me to save yourself? It wasn't that simple, wasn't it?" Her voice softened. "You think I didn't feel anything?" "I don't care what you felt," I said. "Feelings didn't save me when you signed those papers." Her jaw tightened. "So what now? You humiliate me in front of my staff?" I smirked. "No, I'm not you." She flinched. I turned away, heading toward the office that once was hers, now mine. My nameplate gleamed on the door. Ethan Cole, Regional Director. For a moment, I just stared at it. The irony was perfect. Claire followed quietly. "They said you'd left the country." I did. "For a while. To Titan." "Yes. Marcus Hale rebuilt me from the ashes you left." She scoffed softly. "Of course, the corporate savior." "He didn't save me," I said. "He taught me how to stop bleeding." I opened the door and stepped inside. The room smelled of expensive wood, polish, and faint perfume. "Hers. You've redecorated," I said, glancing around. Her voice trembled. "You shouldn't be here." "Funny," I said. "That's exactly what you told me 3 years ago." Her eyes flicked to the desk. "That's my chair." "No," I said simply. "It's mine now." She stood there, silent, her hands curling into fists. Finally, she asked, "What do you want from me?" "Nothing," I said. "Just your professionalism." "Liar. Believe what you want." Her tone sharpened. "You came here to see me fall?" "No, Claire," I said softly. "I came here to see if I still cared. Turns out I don't." She laughed bitterly. "You expect me to believe that?" "I don't expect anything from you anymore." An assistant knocked lightly. "Mr. Cole, the finance heads are ready for your briefing." "Thank you," I said. Claire turned to the assistant, her mask sliding back into place. "I'll join as well." I looked at her. "That won't be necessary. You'll get the memo after the meeting." Her nostrils flared. "You're enjoying this. I'm doing my job." She stepped closer. "And when you're done doing your job, what then?" "Fire me." I met her eyes. "If you're worth keeping, I will." Her expression cracked again, pride battling panic. "You really became him," she whispered. "Who?" Marcus cold, calculated, untouchable. I smiled faintly. He trained me well. The meeting room buzzed with cautious energy. Executives lined up neatly around the table. I started the presentation. Good morning. Effective immediately, Titan Global assumes full operational control of Morgan and Brooks. All department heads will report directly to me. Murmurs spread across the room. Claire sat silently in the corner, arms crossed. I continued, we'll begin audits next week. Departments with integrity will thrive. Those built on manipulation. I paused, letting the silence sting. Will collapse. Eyes darted toward Claire. She didn't move. When the meeting ended, I gathered my files. Claire approached slowly. You're enjoying the power, aren't you? She said under her breath. I'm enjoying the clarity, I replied. Power fades. Clarity stays. She shook her head. You sound like a stranger. Maybe that's because I finally stopped being your victim, she whispered. You think revenge will make you whole? I think peace will, I said. Revenge is just the road that leads there. She didn't respond. Her silence said everything. That evening, the office emptied one by one. I stood by the window, looking down at the city, the same view I once stared at while begging her to believe me. The skyline glowed like 1,000 open scars. The door opened softly behind. Claire's reflection appeared in the glass. Do you ever stop pretending you don't care? I didn't turn. Do you ever stop pretending you do? She sighed. You win, Ethan. I faced her finally. I didn't come to win. I came to start over. Then start somewhere else. Can't, I said. This is where I lost everything. This is where I take it back. Her voice broke slightly. And after that, I said quietly, maybe I'll finally sleep. She stared at me, eyes glistening, but said nothing more. Then she walked out, heels clicking down the hallway, the same sound I once followed like a fool. When the door closed, I let out the breath I'd been holding for 3 years. I ran a hand through my hair and looked around the office again. Everything she'd built her empire, now mine. But instead of triumph, I felt empty. Revenge, I realized, didn't taste sweet. It tasted silent, and silence was exactly what I came for. Power doesn't roar. It whispers every morning now. I walk into that building, and the air bends around me. Claire tries to pretend she's fine, but her smile twitches every time our eyes meet. It's not revenge yet, just patience dressed as peace. She appears at my door one Monday morning. Good morning, Mr. Cole. Thought I'd update you personally about the audit results. I look up slowly. You could have emailed, I prefer conversations, she says. I remember, she forces a small laugh. You've changed. That's what happens when people bury you alive. You learn how to breathe in the dirt. Her lips tighten. Ethan, Mr. Cole. I correct gently. Her eyes drop. Right, Mr. Cole. I motion to the chair. Sit. She sits, crossing her legs the same way she used to, in meetings confident, rehearsed. Department productivity's improving. The team's stabilizing under your leadership. Flattery doesn't work here. It's not flattery, she says. It's fact. I glance at her report. Half your staff resigned last month. That's not stability, she swallows. Transitions take time. I gave you time 3 years ago. You used it to destroy me. That's not fair, it's accurate. Psst. She studies me like I'm someone she doesn't recognize anymore. Finally, she says softly, I'm trying, Ethan. I meet her gaze. That's new. She stands abruptly, leaving the file behind. You're enjoying this, aren't you? I smirk faintly. I'm enjoying seeing you work for once. Her footsteps echo out of my office. That afternoon, I find Marcus in the executive lounge. He's sipping coffee like a man who owns time. She's unraveling, he says without looking up. I noticed. Good. But don't gloat yet. You're not done. I'm not planning revenge, I say quietly. He chuckles. You don't need to. Just keep being better. That's punishment enough. I sip my coffee. Sometimes I think I want her to beg. He leans back. And when she does, I'll probably forgive her. That's your weakness, I say. That's my difference. Marcus studies me for a long moment. Don't let mercy dull your edge. I nod, though my thoughts drift elsewhere to Ava. Ava appears in my doorway later that week, carrying a folder and her calm smile. HR report, she says, but I think you need a break more than a document. I raise a brow. Do I look that exhausted? She laughs softly. You look like a man holding the world by its throat and pretending it's light. Poetic. True, she counters. I lean back. What do you want, Ava? To remind you that you're still human. Is that in the HR handbook? No, she says. That's in my instinct. I can't help but smile. Dangerous thing, trusting instincts in this building. Maybe, but mine haven't failed me yet. Her warmth unsettles me. There's no agenda in her tone, no manipulation, just quiet understanding. Tell me something, she says. Do you actually sleep at night? Sometimes, and the other times. I watch the ceiling and try to remember who I was before all this. Her voice softens. You don't have to keep fighting ghosts, Ethan. I look away. Ghosts don't stop knocking just because you ignore them. The next morning, a name from the past shows up on my assistant's intercom. Daniel Hayes here to see you, she says. For a second, I freeze. Daniel, the same friend who'd sold me out with Claire. Send him in, I say. He walks in, thinner, older, the swagger gone. His suit looks borrowed, his eyes hollow. Ethan, he breathes, forcing a grin. Man, it's been too long. 3 years, I reply. And a lifetime? He chuckles nervously. Yeah, listen, I know things ended badly. It's one way to describe betrayal. He flinches. I didn't have a choice, all right? Claire, she said a lot of things. You listened. He rubs his temples. I lost everything, man. My job, my marriage, my house. I'm just asking for a second chance. Why me? Because you're the only one who made it out alive. I study him quietly. His desperation is real. But so is my memory of the night he testified against me. I can't hire you, I say finally. Come on, Ethan, please. You don't owe me forgiveness, just an opportunity. I don't owe you anything, he exhales shakily. You used to be different. I used to be naive. He leans forward. You think Claire's clean now? She'll turn on you the first chance she gets. I smile faintly. I'm counting on it. He looks confused. What? I don't destroy people anymore, Daniel. I let them destroy themselves. He stares at me, realization dawning. You've changed? Yes, I say softly. That's the point. He stands defeated. Guess I'll find my own way out. Good idea. As he leaves, a small part of me aches for the man he used to be and the friend I once had. But pity is expensive, and I've already paid that price. By Thursday, rumors swirl again. Claire's department is under internal review. Marcus's strategy is working transparency audits, expose every hidden crack. Claire storms into my office, slamming a report on my desk. Are you behind this? I don't even glance up. Behind what? The audit. They're tearing apart my team. Then they'll find what's broken. This is personal, she hisses. Everything's personal to you. She steps closer. You think you're untouchable now? I don't think I say. I plan. Her voice trembles with anger. You want me to beg? I meet her eyes. I want you to understand. Understand what? That I don't hate you anymore, she freezes. You're lying. Hating you kept me alive. Letting go keeps me human. For the first time, her anger falters. You really believe that? I have to. She turns away, muttering, You're colder than I ever was. Maybe, I say quietly. But I sleep better. She leaves without another word. That night, Ava finds me still in the office. Lights dimmed, skyline flickering through the glass. You don't go home much, do you? She asks softly. This is home, I say no. It's a battlefield. I look at her. Then why are you still here? Because someone has to remind the general that wars end. Oh, yeah, wars. I laugh under my breath. You think I'm fighting her? I think you're fighting yourself. Her words linger. I rub my eyes. You sound like my conscience. Maybe that's why you keep letting me in. She sits across from me, her voice barely above a whisper. Do you ever wish you could just stop? Every day. So why don't you? Because peace feels like surrender. No, she says. Peace feels like freedom. I stare at her, the weight of her gaze unsettling the walls I'd built. She smiles gently. You don't have to prove you've won. Sometimes surviving is enough. I exhale slowly. You make it sound easy. It's not, she says, but it's worth it. When she leaves, I stand by the window again. Below, the city hums like a distant memory. Claire's empire is crumbling. Daniel's gone. And I'm the man standing on top alone. The victory feels hollow. I whisper to the glass. The game isn't about winning anymore. It's about ending it. It was past midnight when I heard the knock. The building was silent, the kind of silence that makes you hear your own heartbeat. Come in, said, not looking up from the report. The door opened slowly. Claire stood there, mascara streaked, eyes hollow, voice soft. You're still here? I work better when no one's pretending. She stepped inside, shutting the door behind her. I didn't come to fight. Then what did you come for? Her voice trembled. To ask if it was all revenge. I leaned back in my chair. Revenge? Yes, she whispered. Every promotion, every project you took from me, was it all to hurt me? I let the silence answer for a moment. You destroyed me, Claire. I just rebuilt what you tried to bury. She looked at me as if hearing her own sentence. I didn't mean for it to go that far. You meant enough to make sure I couldn't stand again. Her lips parted. Daniel said, Stop. My voice cut sharper than I intended. Don't make him your shield. Tears welled in her eyes. You think I don't regret it? I think regret's convenient when the walls start to crumble. She stepped closer. I lost myself, Ethan. No, I said quietly. You sold yourself. She covered her face, shoulders shaking. I thought I was protecting my career. Daniel said you'd ruin everything if you stayed. I exhaled slowly. And now? Now I know what I ruined wasn't my job. It was you. I stood. You didn't ruin me, Claire. You freed me. Her eyes lifted red and wet. Freed you? Yes. I used to think I needed your approval to matter. Now I know I only needed your betrayal to see the truth. She pressed a hand against the desk, voice breaking. You don't understand what it's like to live with that guilt every day. Guilt. I asked. That's the tax for greed. You chose ambition over loyalty. That's not guilt. It's the receipt. She shook her head, whispering, You've changed. I had to. She moved closer, desperate. Can't we start over? Start over. I almost laughed. Claire, you didn't just burn the bridge. You built a company on its ashes. She stepped back, as if my words hit her physically. I loved you, she said weakly. You loved control. I was just convenient. No, she insisted, voice rising. I loved you, Ethan. I swear. Then why did you watch me fall? I thought you'd come back stronger. I stared at her. You wanted me to break, just to see if I could survive it. She froze. I didn't mean it like that, but you did it like that. Her tears spilled freely now. Daniel said it was the only way. He said the board was planning to cut you, and if I didn't play along, I'd lose everything. And now? I asked again. Did you keep everything? Her silence answered for her. I sat down, exhaustion settling over me like dust. Claire, do you know what's funny about regret? She looked up, confused. It doesn't fix anything. It just reminds you what you broke. Our lip trembled. I want to fix it. Can't. You broke me in public. You can't fix me in private. The air between us felt heavy, filled with things too late to say. Finally, she whispered, I never thought you'd come this far. Neither did I said. Guess losing everything gives you clarity. She moved toward the door but paused. Do you still hate me? I hesitated. No, I outgrew that too. She nodded slowly. I wish I had your strength. I smiled faintly. No, Claire. You had it. You just traded it for power. She opened the door, but stopped again. Daniel's in trouble, she said quietly. They're investigating him. I know. Her eyes widened. You knew? I don't need revenge, I said. Karma works faster than I ever could. She swallowed hard, then left without another word. The next morning, the storm arrived. News spread through the company like wildfire. Daniel's embezzlement had been exposed. Liam from finance found discrepancies in his project accounts. Mr. Grayson launched a full review. I watched from my office as chaos unfolded below. Phones rang nonstop. HR scrambled. Marcus stood in the corner of the boardroom, calm as always. Daniel barged into my office an hour later, face pale. Ethan, you've got to help me. I looked up slowly. Help you? They're setting me up. Are they? Yes. His voice cracked. They said the transfers were traced to my account, but I didn't what? I asked. Didn't manipulate numbers? Didn't take bonuses that weren't yours? His breath caught. You think I'd do that? I think you'd do worse. You already did. He slammed his hand on my desk. You think you're some kind of saint? No, I said quietly. I'm just not you. He stared at me, eyes wide with disbelief. You let this happen. I didn't have to, I said. You built your own gallows? Security appeared at the door. Mr. Grayson's voice came through the intercom. Mr. Cole, please send Mr. Hayes to the boardroom. Daniel's face crumpled. You're really going to let them destroy me? I leaned back. You destroyed yourself the day you called me a liability. He froze. Realization cutting deeper than anger. Goodbye. Daniel, I said softly. They let him out. That evening, the board met to review Claire's department. Liam presented numbers, graphs, performance drops. Mr. Grayson spoke clearly. Negligence, poor oversight, and violation of ethics protocols. Claire sat silent the entire time. I stayed quiet, watching the woman who once ruled this place reduced to silence. When the verdict came, it was clinical. Ms. Morgan, Mr. Grayson said, you're relieved of your position effective immediately. She didn't argue, didn't cry, just nodded faintly and stood. Her eyes met mine across the table. No anger, no defense, just resignation. As she walked out, I felt the strangest thing. Not victory, not relief, just emptiness. Marcus placed a hand on my shoulder as we left the room. You did well, he said. I didn't do anything. He smiled. Exactly. Later that night, I stood by the window again. The city lights flickered below, the same city that once watched me fall. Claire's world had turned to dust, just as mine had years ago. But this time, I wasn't the one buried beneath it. My reflection stared back at me in the glass, older, sharper, emptier. A voice echoed in my head, hers trembling, broken. Was it all revenge? Maybe it was once, but now. Watching her downfall felt like watching a past life finally end. I whispered to the night, you wanted everything, Claire. And now you finally have it? The nothing that comes after. The city didn't answer, but somewhere deep inside, I did. Peace doesn't come from revenge. It comes when regret arrives, and it's not yours anymore. The city hums beneath my window, quiet, alive, and far away from the chaos that once consumed me. I stand where it all began. Same office, same glass walls, same skyline, different man. A knock breaks the silence. Come in, I say. Ava steps inside, holding 2 cups of coffee. Her smile is soft, the kind that carries warmth without asking for anything in return. Still working late? She teases, setting 1 cup on my desk. Old habits die hard, I say, half smiling. Besides, peace feels strange when you've lived too long in storms. She sits across from me. You finally said it, peace. Yeah. I glance at the empty chair by the window, the one Claire used to sit in during her reign. Didn't think I'd ever find it. Ava studies me quietly. You've changed. Maybe I just stopped fighting ghosts. Ghosts don't always disappear, she says. Sometimes they just fade into lessons. I nod. She left, didn't she? Ava exhales softly. Yeah, resigned last month. Rumor says she's gone abroad. Running? maybe starting over. Good for her, I say. My voice doesn't shake this time. She deserves a chance to rebuild. We all do. Ava tilts her head. You don't hate her anymore? I thought hate would make me strong, I admit, but it only kept me chained to her shadow. For a while, silence fills the room. Only the hum of the city below. Then Ava breaks it. Do you ever think about what you'd say to her if she walked in right now? I look toward the door, the same door where she once stood, trembling, asking if I ever loved her. I'd probably say, thank you, Ava frowns. For breaking you? For teaching me how to rebuild myself? I reply. The man she destroyed wouldn't have survived this world. The man she created did. She smiles faintly. That's the most poetic thing I've heard from you. I've been hanging around you too long. Maybe that's not such a bad thing, she says. I lean back, letting her words settle. You know what's strange? What? I don't remember the anger anymore. I remember the lessons. The silence. The nights I wanted to quit, but didn't. The faces that stayed when everyone else vanished. Ava raises her cup. To the ones who stayed? To the ones who stayed, I echo. We sip in silence. The coffee is warm, familiar. She sets the cup down. Do you ever miss her? Sometimes, I admit, but not in the way I used to. It's not longing, it's acknowledgement. She was part of my story, not the end of it. That's growth, Ava says softly. Or exhaustion, I joke. Hard to tell the difference these days, she laughs. You finally sound like someone who's free. Maybe I am, I say, turning toward the window. The city glows, thousands of stories unfolding at once. Maybe freedom isn't about winning or losing. Maybe it's just letting go. Ava stands and walks beside me. You ever think of taking a break? You've built enough empires for one lifetime. Yeah, maybe someday, I say. But for now, this I gesture to the view, this piece is enough. She studies my reflection in the glass. You know, when I first met you, you scared me. I laugh. Scared you? Yeah. You were like a storm waiting to happen. Controlled, silent, dangerous. And now? Now you're calm, she says. Still strong, but softer. Maybe the storm just ran out of rain. Her eyes meet mine. You deserve peace, Ethan. I'm starting to believe that, I whisper. A moment passes before she speaks again. What will you do now that it's all over? Live, I say simply. No revenge, no plans. Just live. She nods approvingly. Sounds boring, exactly. We both laugh. It feels light real. Then her tone shifts, gentle but curious. Did you ever forgive yourself? The question catches me off guard. For what? For letting them break you. I stare at the floor for a second. I don't think I needed forgiveness. I needed understanding. I wasn't weak. I just loved the wrong people in the right way. Ava's voice softens. And now? Now I love the right things, peace, purpose, maybe even people again. Her cheeks flush slightly. People like me? Maybe, I say with a small grin. But let's not rush the sequel. She laughs. Fair enough. We stand together, watching the city breathe beneath us. You ever think life comes full circle? She asks. All the time, I reply. But I think circles only make sense when you step out of them. I was trapped in hers for too long, and now I'm writing my own. Ava turns to leave, then pauses at the door. You know, for someone who's found peace, you still talk like a poet. Peace gives you time to think, I say, and time makes you honest. She smiles. See you tomorrow, Mr. Cole. See you, Ava. When the door closes, I'm alone again. But this time, the silence doesn't feel empty. It feels earned. I walk to the window, resting my hand against the glass. 3 years ago, I stood here, broken, betrayed, humiliated, invisible. Tonight, I stand whole. Funny, I whisper to the city lights. The place that destroyed me became the place that healed me. A memory flickers, her voice trembling, asking, was it all revenge? I close my eyes. No, I murmur to no one. It was redemption. The skyline glows brighter. Somewhere out there, she's starting over. Maybe she's staring at her own reflection, wondering if I still think of her. I do, but without pain. Goodbye, Claire, I say quietly. I hope you find your peace too. The words drift into the night, swallowed by the hum of the city. My phone buzzes. A text from Marcus, proud of you, kid. You made it. I smile. Thanks, Marcus. You were right. Revenge is loud. Healing is silent. He replies almost instantly, and silence always wins. I set the phone down and exhale deeply. The storm is gone. The chaos, the vengeance, the sleepless nights, all of it dissolved into something pure. Stillness. I sit behind my desk, and let the weight of it all sink in. The rise, the fall, the return, everything led here. Not to victory, but to balance. Ava's words echo in my head. You deserve peace. Ethan, maybe I finally do. The night sky reflects in the glass. Stars scattered like reminders of everything I lost and everything I gained. I whisper to myself, softly, like a prayer. I didn't win by destroying them. I won by surviving them. And for the first time in years, I feel something simple. Not triumph. Not revenge. Just peace.